Whew, okay, let's go. Time for recording. Okay. Hello, my black and white brothers. Welcome to my channel. I'm Alpha Anime, and this is What If Deku Was the Son of Tatsumaki and Mob. Okay, so I need to add a little bit of backstory. So basically, all I really need to say about them is that they were isekai'd into this world because I have no other logical way to get them here. And then they were both isekai'd at the same time, so they started fighting each other because they thought that it was their fault. So they fought, then they realized that they both had telekinesis powers and that they could destroy cities like it's absolutely nothing. So they decide to get married after Mob becomes legal age because that's a problem. So yeah, after that when they get married, they start learning about how quirks work. Now they can mask themselves as having just a quirk. Okay, so when Deku was born, he has his mother's green hair and Mob's aura coming off him. The doctors are like, whoa, maybe this kid's quirk has awakened this early. Mob and Tatsumaki are like, yeah, most likely, because they don't want anyone to know that they have powers. So after that, when they realize that they're heroes as well, they both become pro-heroes, and they both always fight for the number one spot. I'm kidding. I'll just say that All Might has the number one spot because that'll just help with the story. But even though it's very obvious, Mob or Tatsumaki would hand All Might his butt multiple times in a week. Fight me on it. Okay, so when Deku is old enough to know about how heroes and villains work, he always wanted to be a hero, but for years, he was just waiting to get his quirk. But when he was 4, his dreams were shattered by one single word. Ma'am, your child is quirkless. I don't understand what's happening with that weird aura coming off him. Deku's heart shatters in that one sentence, and he's like, What? How do I not have a quirk? I've always thought that I had one of the strongest quirks because of this weird stuff coming off me. The Tatsumaki is like, how is that even possible? And because she's just trying to play along because she doesn't want to seem suspicious because she knows why, but then she doesn't want to make it look suspicious. And Mob says, yeah, that's preposterous. Me and my wife Tatsumaki have a telekinesis quirk, and our boy Izuku has this weird aura coming off him. What do you mean he doesn't have a quirk? Doctor says, well, I don't know what to tell you. We ran through all the tests twice. They both came out negative. So I guess it's possible that we get a quirk later in life, but we don't know for sure. Tatsumaki scoffs and says, come on, Izuku, we're leaving. Mob says, yeah, okay. Instead of this time Deku going to the playground, Tatsumaki and Mob take him to their house and say, well, Izuku, even though the doctor says you don't have a quirk, we do think that you have a power that you can use. Deku says, what do you mean? Tatsumaki and Mob then explain their powers and how all that stuff. Deku was very confused. It's like, what is isekai? I'm kidding. Mob and Tatsumaki say, you're gonna have a telekinesis power, but we don't know when you're gonna unlock it, so it's probably gonna come really late, like maybe when you're 10. So just be on guard. And by the way, don't tell anyone that you're gonna get a power. Just tell them that you're quirkless. Deku nods, and then they take him to the playground. At the playground, Deku sees Katsuki, and then Katsuki or Bakugo says, Hey, Izuku, what's your quirk? Deku then says, Well, I'm quirkless. After Bakugo hears this, says, Come again? Hey guys, Izuku doesn't have a quirk. Now he's a useless Deku. When Deku hears this, he's like, No, I'm not. Bakugo then calls over his friends and he says, Don't talk back, you useless Deku. What are you gonna do? You can't defend yourself without a quirk. Bakugo then proceeds to grab Deku's arm and attempt to set off a spark. But Deku's dad, Mob, blocks it with a force field, and he walks over to Katsuki and their friend and his friends, lifts them up in the air and says, If you ever dare to touch my son again, I'm going to rip your heads off with my bare hands. They all start crying apart from Bakugo, which says, What are you gonna do? You're the parent of a useless Deku. When Mob hears this, he attempts to rip off Bakugo's head since Mob has no control of his emotions whatsoever. But Tatsumaki stops him, saying, Are you really gonna try and kill a child? Yo, drop him. I don't want to have to fight the police because you can't keep your emotions in check. Drop them before we have to take this to first base. Okay, no, that's not what I meant. By first base, I mean fighting. Mob puts them down and says, Fine, but if they attempt to bully our son again, they're gonna feel the wrath of a city. Tatsumaki says, Fine. So, yeah, after that, Bakugo and the others don't bully him, but no one talks to him because they all make remarks behind his back saying, he's useless. He's dreaming about becoming a hero. He's delusional. He doesn't even have a quirk. When Deku is 9, Bakugo and the other kids say, Screw it, his dad can't do anything to us, we're minors. They then start to gang up on Deku, saying, Though your dad's not here to protect you this time, is he? Deku starts stumbling back, but then he puts out his hand to say, No, stop it! Nothing happens, but then Katsuki says, Stop what? This? He then runs over and tries to blow Deku up, but he stops because the force field that Mob has transferred to Deku, so he has force fields now. So Bakugo attempts to hit Deku, but he stops midair because Deku's force field stops him. Deku says, the powers that my parents told me about finally came. Bakugo says, What did you just say, Deku? Deku says, Nothing. He then attempts to use his parents' powers, but it doesn't work. All he has is a force field. All the kids try to gang up on Deku and attempts to beat the heck out of him. But they don't even get 2 inches close, because as soon as they try to hit Deku, the force field stops them immediately. But while this is happening, Deku lets his guard down for 1 second, and then Bakugo comes in for a blast and actually hits Deku with a gigantic explosion. Deku feels it and is knocked back. Then he puts his hand out again, saying, No more! And then Bakugo is then lifted into the air and starts to choke. Deku's force is using the force to freaking choke Bakugo. Bakugo then says, "Put me down, you useless Deku," while he's losing consciousness. Then Deku puts him down for a second, and Bakugo says, "What was that? You're quirkless, you're not supposed to be able to do that." Deku says, "Don't ask me, I don't know what's going on." Bakugo goes in for another blast, but Deku, now being full of adrenaline, uses his power again. This time Bakugo is just pulled into the air without being choked, and Deku throws him back, sending Bakugo into a wall on the other side of the street. All the other kids start to go up to Deku, but Deku suddenly learns how to use his powers because anime logic. So he starts to fly, and then he says, "Wait, I can fly?" And then some weird purplish, bluish aura starts coming off Deku. Deku then lifts all of them into the air and starts compacting them into a ball. Though he doesn't get too far because he starts to hear bones cracking. Then, out of shock, he drops all of them. They all make a run for it, and Bakugo says, "Freak! I'm still gonna destroy you, you useless Deku." And then Bakugo goes in for another attack, but Deku just stops him, puts him up, and slams him into the ground, knocking Bakugo out so he can escape, because I don't believe that Bakugo would actually run away from Deku no matter what happens. So at school, the next day, wait, no, I'm skipping too far. So when Deku goes home, he goes up to his parents and he says, "Mom, Dad, I think the powers you told me about came today." They say, "Why do you think that?" "Because I can do this." He then proceeded to lift all the furniture in the entire house, but as soon as he does that, they shoot up because Deku can't completely control his powers. Or, no, they don't shoot up, they all get crushed. Tatsumaki then says, "Whoa, that was stronger than I was when I first got my powers." Mob says, "Me too. Looks like you have a combination." Mob then says, "Wait, do you also have the force field that I have?" Deku then says, "Oh, so that's what that was." Mob and Tatsumaki says, "Well, we did tell you that we're gonna train you as soon as you get the power, so get ready for some gruesome training." Deku shudders at this because he realizes that these two are the number 2 and 3 hero, respectively. And then he says, "Well, can we start later? I'm really tired today." Tatsumaki says, "No, start. I'm gonna make you be able to lift a building by the end of the week." Deku then says, "I can lift the buildings?" Tatsumaki then says, "Yeah, you've seen me do it on TV. Obviously, you should be able to do it." Deku then says, "Oh yeah." Mob then says, "Yeah, after your mom is done with you, I'll help you be able to control your emotions, because that's basically how your telekinesis is activated. So, yeah. But I'm gonna go take a nap first." Tatsumaki then takes Deku outside and starts to train him. By the end of the day, Deku can easily lift up cars, saying, "Oh, Katsuki's gonna get it." The next day at school, Bakugo runs up to Deku and tries to explode him. The force field stops him, and then everyone looks at Deku and Bakugo. They all say, "Wait, what? Deku's quirkless, what the heck just happened?" Deku then says, "Oh, did I forget to tell you? Yesterday, my quirk finally awakened." They then said, "What is it?" He said, "Oh, it's this." He then proceeded to lift Bakugo, lift a tree, and slam Bakugo and the tree together, effectively knocking Bakugo out immediately. Everyone starts gathering around Deku saying, "Oh, your quirk is so powerful! Whoa!" But some of them start looking at Deku and says, "Ugh, he's such a freak. What the heck?" The years coming after the years coming after that was filled with Deku being complimented by teachers, by students, and even by some heroes. Since Tatsumaki and Mob are both top-rated heroes. Now it's time for the main course of the anime. Okay, so Deku gets to school, and at the end of class, the teacher walks in saying, "Well, I guess you guys should fill out these forms so you know what high school you can go to and you can pick a considerable career for what course you join." He then proceeds to throw all the papers in the air, saying, "Well, we don't have to do that since I all know you want to go to the hero course." Everyone starts using their quirks apart from Deku, and then Bakugo says, please don't put hey Teach, don't put me in with these guys. The best they can do is get some D-list heroes, and they'll be psychics, without any chance of becoming an actual independent hero. Deku says, "Shut up, Kachan." And then the teacher says, calm down. Oh, looks like 2 of our students are gonna be going to UA. The names are read out as, oh, Bakugo, looks like you're one of them. After that, he then says, oh, Midoriya's going as well. Everyone starts whispering, saying, some of them are saying, oh, that makes sense. Izuku's definitely gonna get in. That's one of the strongest quirks ever. And both of his parents are in the top 5 heroes. But some of them saying, ugh, that freak is gonna try out for UA. He's never gonna get in. Bakugo goes up to Deku and attempts to blow up his book. But Deku blocks this attack with his force field, saying, what'd I say about touching my stuff? Releasing some of that purple aura that Mob has. Bakugo shudders for a second and says, Deku, you're never gonna get into UA. How about you stop and just swan dive off the roof? Deku then says, only if you go first. Bakugo is infuriated by this and attempts to throw a right hook at Deku. Deku then doesn't do anything. The force field blocks it, and Deku says, now, what I just say about touching my stuff? Deku then looks into Bakugo's eyes, and Bakugo sees just his eyes empty. Deku could feel the bloodlust coming from him. Oh, sorry about that. I moved too close to my mic for a second. The teacher says, settle down. You guys all have amazing quirks, but the rules still apply. No quirks in school. Bakugo scoffs and starts to walk back to his seat. After school, Bakugo attempts to do what he did during class, but Deku just gives him a death stare, then he backs off. After school, Deku starts walking home, and while he's walking under a bridge, he hears screaming. He then looks back and sees the sludge villain coming at him and says, give me your body, kid. Deku just keeps walking, and when the sludge villain gets close enough for him to try and take over Deku's body, he just suddenly stops because of the force field, and the sludge villain says, hey, what's all this about? Deku then says, well, my quirk does give me a force field, so it's kind of like that, so how about you back off before I kill you? The sludge villain then says, how are you gonna kill me? Then Deku just looks at him. You know that, honestly, I don't know how to explain, but you know that look okay, if you watch Hunter x Hunter, just look at Hisoka. All of the looks that he gives to people he doesn't like is a death stare. That's basically the look that he gave to the sludge villain. And the sludge villain saw this and like an idiot, kept trying to attack Deku. Deku was just about to compact the sludge villain into a ball when All Might jumped out saying, "I am here." After that, All Might releases what's it called? The Choice Smash, splattering the sludge villain all over the wall. Deku then starts geeking out, but he's not nearly as fanboy about All Might as in the real anime, but he's still a fan. And then asks for an autograph, and then Deku, I don't know, All Might notices Deku, and then he's like, "Wait, are you the son of?" Wait, I need to think of a name. Was it the twisting tornado that they called Tatsumaki in the anime? I can't remember. I'll just call her. Are you the son of the twisting tornado and 100, the two of the top-rated heroes? Deku then says, "Yeah, how'd you know?" All Might then says, "Just a hunch. You kinda look like them." And I noticed the force field. I noticed this force field spiel going around back there. Amazing. Deku then says, "Well, do you think I could become a hero with the power I have?" Then All Might says, "Are you kidding me? Of course. You could definitely even become number one with that power." Deku smiles after this. Hopefully I didn't skip anything, because I needed to start my recording again. Is that a freaking ghost? Forget it. Okay, so after that whole ordeal, All Might says goodbye and jumps away. And the while Deku is going back home, he just starts to float because it takes less energy. While he's floating, he sees Bakugo basically destroying an entire building because he's getting choked to death, while the heroes are doing nothing. Deku then says, "Do I really have to deal with this crap right now? Ugh." He then floats over there while the heroes try to stop him. He then says, "Well, both of my parents are top-rated heroes. Can I just save this guy real quick? I don't like him much, but why not?" The heroes say, "What? Do I? Is he the is he the child of who I think he is?" Deku then keeps floating over to Bakugo and says, "Hey Bakugo, how you doing?" Bakugo says, "Get out of here, Deku." Deku then says, "Would you rather be choked to death, or would you like me just to remove the sludge villain?" The sludge villain says, "Shut up," and tries to explode Deku. It's easily blocked by the force field, and he just keeps talking to Bakugo. So like I said, before we were rudely interrupted, "Do you want to die, or do you want me to save you?" Bakugo says die. Then Deku says, "Well, that means I'm gonna have to save you, because why would I let you die in peace?" Then just says 5%. 5%. He says 5% and pushes the sludge villain back, which sends it flying, while keeping Bakugo in place with his other hand. Deku then says, "You're welcome." Bakugo then tries to attack Deku. Then Deku just picks him up and throws him at the hero, saying, "Take him. He's the explodey boy that no one really likes." All Might was looking at this from the sidelines and decides that Bakugo would be a great successor, because I want Bakugo to try and be a challenge in this one, unlike my other what ifs. Sorry, my sister walked in. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, All Might had just decided to give Bakugo his quirk. And then the heroes start to try and scold Deku, but all he does is say, "Well, y'all weren't doing anything." Then his parents came over because they were just watching Deku from the sky. they come down and say, "Don't talk to our son like that. Y'all weren't doing crap." All the heroes on the ground were like, "We're sorry." Tatsumaki then says, "You should be." Then she punks all of them. Then they all flinch. She then starts to laugh out loud. Mob says, "Nice one, honey." It's like, then he looks at Deku and says, "Good job, Izuku. You're shaping up to be an amazing hero, and your powers aren't half bad either." Deku smiles, and then Mob looks at Bakugo and says, "What, did he save you? Is that enough shame?" Bakugo tries to blow himself up to either of them. Deku just puts one finger and says, "Okay, I'm gonna have to put you back to sleep." He then slams Bakugo into the ground, knocking him out. The heroes then say, "Hey, you're not allowed to use your powers in public." Deku then says, "What you gonna do about it?" The heroes say, Then they then look at Mob and Tatsumaki, giving them the death stare, and they say, nothing, forget it." Deku then says, "I thought so," and then goes back home. Oh, I hope I'm not making Deku look like a spoiled brat. Ugh. But when they get home, Tatsumaki then says, "Well, I'm gonna start training you again. You have to get ready for the UA entrance exam." Deku smiles and says, "I'm ready for anything." Then Mob and Tatsumaki look at each other and says, "Well, if you're ready for anything, how about you take us both on at the same time?" Deku says, "Sorry, repeat that. I don't think I heard you correctly. For a second, I thought you said that I'm gonna have to take out both of you at the same time." But Mob and Tatsumaki move closer, saying, "That's what we said." Deku then tries to make a run for it, saying, "How am I supposed to take out the number 2 and number 3 hero by myself at the same time?" Both of them, Tatsumaki just flies over to him and stops him, saying, "Well, you're gonna have to figure it out." She then grabs Deku with her telekinesis and throws him outside using her telekinesis, breaking through the wall. But then his force field stops him from getting any real harm. Then he proceeds to get the absolute beaten out of him by both of his parents. Y'all might think it's abuse, but hell, they're heroes. What are you gonna do about it? After the training, Deku says, "Ugh, why? Now I'm so sore. How am I even gonna study for my test?" Tatsumaki then says, "Well, you better figure it out, because if you get anything less than a B, we're gonna have to do this same training every day for the next month." Deku flinches, and then Tatsumaki says, "Just kidding." Mob says, "Oh wait, you were?" I was getting ready to send Deku through a wall again. Deku flinches again, saying, "Wait, what?" Mob says, looks at Tatsumaki and starts laughing. Hopefully I didn't leave off on a good note, because I forgot what it is. Sorry, my sister just called me back to take medicine. Ugh. Okay. So now it's time for the entrance exam, but first of all, Bakugo, if I forgot to say it before, Bakugo gets one for all, so yeah, he did the training stuff with All Might, and now his self-esteem is 4 times higher than it was in the original show. But so now, this time, when Deku is walking to UA and he sees Bakugo coming, he doesn't care until Bakugo says, "Hey, Deku, get out of the way or I'll kill you." Deku then says, "I'd like to see you try." Bakugo thinks about throwing an explosion, and Deku thinks of using his quirk to smash Bakugo into the ground, but they both realize that, oh crap, we're gonna be instantly kicked out if we try that. Wait, I wonder if Deku should go in by recommendations. Nah, it's cool. It's cool. Bakugo and Deku just stop looking at each other, and then they both start walking again. Deku then trips, but then he just starts to float by himself, and then Uraraka said, then a girl behind him said, "Hey, I didn't even use my quirk on you. How'd you even start floating?" Deku then says, "Oh, I can fly." Uraraka then says, "Woo, cool." He then sits after that and says, "Hey, what's your name?" Uraraka then says, "Oh, my name's Uraraka." Deku then says, "Hey, my name's Izuku. Good luck." She says, "Good luck to you as well." Then they walk in. And that's where I'm going to leave it off, guys. Don't worry, I'm going to post part 2 of this again in like 1 hour. So stay tuned for that. Goodbye.